Skywatch Media News for September 10th, 2019. In the wake of a series of strong earthquakes along the Cascadia subduction zone, including the multiple back-to-back quakes that struck off the Oregon coast recently, the Northwest Office of FEMA has prompted the Cascadia Preparedness Team to draw up immediate plans in the event of a worst-case disaster scenario along the 620-mile subduction zone that runs from British Columbia to Northern California. Geologists in Oregon and Washington State agree that a major earthquake is now more than 50 years overdue. In anticipation of an event of great significance, the state of Oregon is promoting a 2-week readiness campaign to instruct individuals on how to become self-sufficient. According to the group called Cascadia Prepared, people should understand that when a major earthquake hits a metropolitan region, that the infrastructure will be greatly affected. Bridges will be down, there will be no liquid fuel or electricity, and running water may cease to exist. Most importantly, there will be no communication lines to assist in rescue efforts for days or even weeks. The Cascadia fault line has generated a major earthquake of magnitude 7.5 or greater at least 40 times in the past 10,000 years, which means that they would occur on average every 246 years. The last earthquake struck just over 300 years ago in the year 1700, causing the Oregon coastline to sink by several feet, as depicted in this photo of the ghost forest along the western shore, where trees were inundated by seawater when the land shifted. It also caused a massive tsunami, as shown in this image of a riverbank at low tide, revealing the tsunami sand and tidal mud several feet above the river bottom. Such an earthquake would have ruptured the earth along the entire length of the 1,000-kilometer or 620-mile-long fault of the Cascadia subduction zone, and severe shaking could have lasted for 5 minutes or longer. Its tsunami would cross the Pacific Ocean and reach Japan in about 9 hours, as depicted in the tsunami model animation of the megaquake of 1700. Recent quakes along the west coast of Oregon and Washington have government leaders on edge. Oregon's Governor Kate Brown issued a public statement saying that when the next big quake strikes, it will become the greatest challenge of our lifetimes. The big quake, in geological terms, would refer to a full rupture of the subduction zone, known as a megaquake. In this scenario, the entire subduction zone would give way, followed by a massive quake exceeding 9.2 magnitude that would last for several minutes duration. As this occurs, the northwest edge of the continental shelf will move to the east, dropping the coastline as much as 6 feet, followed by a rebound that will move the continent 30 to 160 feet towards the west. In the wake of the continental shift, landslides both above and below the sea will cause an enormous displacement of water, where one side of the water displacement will move towards Japan as an orphan tsunami, and the other side towards the northwest coast at a height of approximately 70 feet. Residents in harm's way of the tsunami will have about 15 minutes after the initial earthquake strikes in which to seek higher ground from the waves that inundate the coastline. Since a megathrust earthquake is now 50 years past due, it's imperative that residents of the Pacific Northwest take the threat seriously and adhere to the emergency preparedness plans that will be initiated in the region. According to FEMA estimates and their predictions, when the events occur, at least 1 million people will be displaced, and 2.5 million will be in need of food, water, and emergency supplies. That number could actually be much higher depending on the severity of the catastrophe. FEMA has also estimated that it will take 3 months or longer before electricity could be restored, another 6 months or longer to repair damaged roads and highways, and more than a year to restore sewer and water systems. Again, this is their estimates, but it is very important to educate oneself to the dangers that exist and get prepared, because this disaster scenario is very real, and our safety is never guaranteed, much like what we saw take place along the Indian Ocean in 2004 and in Japan in 2011. There is a growing threat from space that is prevalent with every large near-Earth object that passes increasingly close to the Earth. The same can be true of smaller objects that penetrate the Earth's defensive shield, only to disintegrate in the Earth's atmosphere, like the asteroid fragment that exploded over the Caribbean on June 22nd of this year. Prior to the entry of this space rock over the Caribbean, NASA had detected its movement, but they did not take any measure to warn the public. Instead, they turned a blind eye to an asteroid about 15 to 20 feet in diameter because they were certain that the object would not survive entry into the atmosphere. They were wrong. The space agency later admitted that the asteroid designated 2019 MO was first observed about 500,000 kilometers from Earth, a bit more than one lunar distance from the Moon to the Earth, but they deemed it to be too small to be of any concern to the public. The fireball breached the atmosphere over the Caribbean on the evening of 22 June, and it burned up there, generating energy equivalent to roughly 3,000 to 5,000 tons of TNT, as noted by astronomers. According to the Center for Near-Earth Objects, asteroids this size are small enough than what they were tasked to track, believing they are too small to survive the Earth's atmospheric shield. But events like this one show us that even the smallest of objects are still capable of penetrating our atmosphere with sufficient energy to cause an explosive force equivalent to a sonic boom that causes the ground to shake. Just last week, a potentially hazardous asteroid dubbed 2019 GT3 zoomed past our planet at a distance of 4.6 million miles from the Earth's center. The space rock, measuring a staggering 1,214 feet, was traveling at 30,500 miles per hour. It was first observed by NASA on April the 3rd. Which is significantly important because had the asteroid been on a direct course towards Earth, there would be very little warning in preparation for an impact. We were lucky enough that the asteroid as big as the Empire State Building did not hit our planet or else massive destruction could have occurred. Asteroid 2019 GT3 was powerful enough to destroy an entire city. A large number of potentially hazardous asteroids are hovering all around the Earth, and although we are presently safe from any immediate threat, there will come a time when we will not be as fortunate. Thanks for watching.